Jason, your Curb Your Enthusiasm appearance, unbelievable.
Thank you.
Can we just talk about how you were cast in Curb briefly, and then just the development of that character that just steals one of my favorite episodes?
Well, thank you, first of all.
I'll just give you the credit card.
No, you know what? You're not gonna buy the jacket. I'm not selling it to anyone. Don't sell it to
Come on,
anyone
don't
until
be
I
an
say
asshole,
so. I'm
man.
not being an asshole. I think you're kind of being an asshole, and that's why I'd like you to leave, okay? Thank you. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Oh, and by the way, don't try to send any of your friends in here to buy the jacket, because I'm not selling it to anyone.
You think I'd send anybody to this piece of shit store?
It was a really cool experience. You know, we've known Jeff Garland. We didn't know Larry, but we knew Jeff. We've known Jeff for a long time. So Jeff was a connect. I think the role came up for sort of a persnickety, store owner who rebukes Larry and keeps him from getting the reshoot jacket from the Scorsese movie, and just over a folding fight. And I think Jeff said to casting, "Hey, let's grab a Sklar brother. I think one of those guys would do this really well, or let's at least bring them in as one of the people who're going." And our agent just happened to call me instead of Randy. Maybe they tried Randy and couldn't reach him, but called me up and said, "Come in and read for this. And if you don't get it and they're still casting, we'll bring your brother in or whatever." And so I told Randy, and I said, "I'm going to go in for it. I don't know if I'm going to get it." But basically at the time, and there were all amazing people reading for this when I walked in. I'm like, "Oh, I'm not going to get it," because I saw the people who were reading, and it was like big time comedy people. And it was a fight. It was a fight with Larry Scene, which is a coveted scene for a guest star. If you're not going to be in throughout the whole episode or a recurring character, you want
that fight.
You want to get into an argument scene with Larry. So as I read you walk in, I didn't know what it was going to be until I got there. They give you a slip of paper. They're like, Larry walks in, he tries to buy this, he finds the jacket, you hold it off to the side. He tries on some other stuff. You get into an argument about folding this letter, and you decide you're not going to sell him the jacket. And however you get there is how you get there. That's all it said. And you have to end on this line. And don't send any of your friends in here, because I'm not going to sell him the jacket. That's it. Okay. And it's like a strip of paper. It's almost like a enlarged fortune. And so I look it over, and I'm listening through the door of other people auditioning, and they're like immediately going from zero to like a giant argument. And because that's funny, and it is funny, I'm hearing what they're doing, and it's really funny. But I was in the time taking an acting class, and the teacher was really smart, great actor at the Pacific Resident Theater. Wow. And he said he would always sort of harp on the fact that he's like, play the solution, not the problem. Okay. So if you're trying to be drunk in a scene, or if you're trying to convey that you're drunk in the scene, you should be trying to hold it together and not be able to do that. And that reveals that you're drunk. That's a way better way of doing it than like acting drunk. So that sort of thing came in my head as I was preparing and sitting there. And I'm like, well, what if I tried really hard not to get into an argument with Larry? Just whatever I could do, which then in turn gives him something to play, because he's got to now irritate the hell out of you. And so that was like, that's going to be what I do in this thing. That's the only way I'm going to be different than everyone else. So I got in, and I was like really passive aggressive in a nice way. "Oh, hey, that looks great on you. That's so great." And he's like, no, I don't think I want it. I'm like, really? Because it looks really good. And he's like, no, I'm not going to get it. I'm like, all right, well, I'll get it and I'll want it. And he's like, no, I can do it. And I'm like, well, you know what? You seem like you've had a hard day. And I was like really trying to be nice. And then he said something like, "Oh, well, that's anyone can fold a sweater," or something like that. And I started. So then that tipped me off, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know what? It's not as easy as you think. And we start arguing, and we get into a little thing, and I'm arguing with him. And the other thing is that someone else told us, which is great advice, was never stop until long after they tell you to stop. And so, Larry starts laughing, and I'm like, "Oh, this is funny to you, what I do?" Oh. So everyone beneath you is just funny. And then Jeff's like, no, we're done. And I'm like, "I don't think so. We're not done until this guy gets out of my store." And they're like, "The audition is over, man. It's over. It's over."
Oh my God.
And so I was like, "Oh, sorry."
That is incredible insight. Thank you so much. Way to push back. I just love that scene. And you guys have been so great today. I would love to do this with you two again.
Let's do it.